In the last stream, we were working on setting up yet another form of organic matter, this time the colorful organic matter made in the colorful organic fluid, which in turn has unlocked a whole new array of resources for us. We have redstone, we have lapis, we have diamonds, and along with those we have apatite, we have fluorite, we have prismarine, and we have emeralds. And up until this point, a lot of the stuff that we've been wanting to make has been gated because we can't access a lot of this stuff, specifically redstone. Redstone is going to be a huge advancement for us here, and as you can see, we have quite a bit of it. We've got 2,400 redstone in this drawer here, because thankfully this drawer does have a tier 5 storage upgrade in it. The rest of the drawers, not quite so lucky, so we are capped at 512 of all of the other resources, which has actually become quite a bit of a problem, because we have actually started to fill up all of our chests here. We've got coal overflowing, we've got nickel overflowing, and all of these chests are completely full, meaning that right now we actually can't put anything away, and it makes crafting very difficult. And if we go and look over in our chests here, you'll see that all of these are full as well. We're backing up on almost everything. I did turn off this auto clicker between streams because unlike the other civs, this one will just keep going and just start spewing items out into the world, which is not great from a lag perspective. So we've gone ahead, turned that off for the time being. It turns out that one induction smelter isn't enough, and we are in fact backing up on raw materials. That is partly due to the fact that the induction smelter isn't fast enough, but also partly due to the fact that we're out of storage space. And so I think the first thing that we should do here is look to increase our storage space for all of our key resources. Maybe look at upgrading our chests here, because we do now have the diamonds available to us to transform these gold chests into diamond chests, giving us even more space. And at the same time, I think the first thing that I would like to do today actually is craft the time in a bottle. This is a super nifty item. For those who don't know, it allows us to store up time while we have it in our inventory, and then over time, the longer we hold it, the more time it will hold inside of it, and then we can use that time to accelerate other blocks and machines going forward. So right now, it starts at 0 stored time, but then in here, you'll see that slowly but surely, we're going to accumulate time, and actually, in the new version, it looks like it has the total accumulated time as well, which is interesting. So we're going to see just how long we've played the game, essentially, since we crafted this time in a bottle. But what we can do is we can take this, and if you right-click it on a machine, it will make that machine faster. So real quick, if I were to grab, let's say, some raw nickel, and I were to place that raw nickel over into this induction smelter, this is the default speed. However, if we shift right click onto this with the induction smelter, it's going to take some of the time out of the bottle, and it's going to make that twice as fast. Now, it only works for a small period of time. After a few seconds here, that 2x multiplier will go away, and the induction smelter will go back down to its normal speed. But this is super useful if we just want to do a little quick bit of induction smelting, and we don't want to have to wait forever. It's especially useful on some other machines that are significantly slower than the induction smelter. And if you do have more time in your bottle, you can do more than a 2x multiplier. So you can make a machine 4 times faster, 8 times faster, I believe all the way up to 256 times faster if you have enough time stored up in your bottle, which again, not useful for some machines, but for other machines, it's a lifesaver because it makes them bearably fast as opposed to unbearably slow. Nevertheless, let us see about fixing our storage problem. And I think the first thing that we should probably do is look at crafting a bunch more compacting drawers, because as I mentioned previously, it's going to be in our best interest to have really all of our ingots in compacting drawers, and on top of that, it's also going to be in our best interest to have things like redstone, lapis, and coal in compacting drawers. You can also do the same with diamonds and emeralds as well, to make them available in both block and gem form. Obviously, these don't have nugget forms, but it might be worth putting those in compacting drawers as well. And so I think the first thing that we'll do here is grab our crafting remote and see about crafting 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 compacting drawers maybe, and adding those to the top of our pre-existing storage drawer setup. Somebody in chat asks, can you cheese it and craft a multiple? Unfortunately, you can't. If you have more than one time in a bottle, only one of them will actually get more time. So having multiple of these doesn't work. You can't have like an inventory full of them and then use all of them on different machines to make them all faster. You can only have one of these at a time and have them actually work. So we've got our first line of compacting drawers down here. Now, unfortunately, because we have a mod installed that adds like a double compressed version or even just a regular compressed version of most of the ingots, it looks like we are going to have to craft an ingot down into its nugget form first and then place the nugget form in before we then lock the drawer, because otherwise we're going to end up with the wrong variant. Like, I don't really think we need to have access to compressed iron, but I would like to have access to iron nuggets because quite a few recipes use iron nuggets. Same thing with gold nuggets, tin nuggets, copper nuggets, etc. And so having those available is going to make life a whole heck of a lot easier. But we just need to go through now and place the nugget version of all of these into all of these drawers. Okay, so I've placed down compacting drawers for most, if not all, of the resources we mentioned before. A few of these are a little odd. Aluminum, for example, doesn't have a block, so there's just nuggets and ingots. That's fine. And all of these along the top normally just have like redstone and redstone blocks, but again, we do have a mod that adds the compressed redstone, and we also have the same mod that adds compressed diamonds, and so all of these are available in their compressed form. Doesn't really matter too much, but now going forward, if we needed a block of diamond, we have that block of diamond ready to go. We don't have to manually craft 9 diamonds into a block of diamond before we can then craft whatever it is we want to craft with that block of diamond. The final thing we need to do here is take all of the diamonds, redstone, lapis, coal, etc. out of these storage drawers and pump them into these drawers that we have down instead. Thankfully, that's quite easy to do. All we have to do is place down an item pipe between the drawer we're trying to extract from and our drawer controller, set that, of course, to extract, make sure that we put in a very fast pipe upgrade, and that should very quickly pull all of the diamonds there out and into the new compacting drawer, at which point we can just quickly unlock this with the drawer key and then relock it again like so. And now this is a free drawer that we can place back down into our wall and use in the future for whatever else we want. And we can do the same thing, of course. Here, we're going to extract almost everything. Not all of these have compacting drawers. Things like the apatite and the salt are not going to get extracted out here, but that's completely fine. Now, the good news is that a compacting drawer, I think, can hold about 16,000 of any given resource by default here. And so, oh no, okay. So there's a slight problem here that we're running into, and that is that I didn't lock the other drawers, and so the salt is all going into the wrong drawers here. Okay, real quick, let me disconnect that. Let me get rid of all of these real quick, and then we want to place them back down locked. Now, we do need a place to put the salt, and salt doesn't need a compacting drawer, but just because we have so much of it, I think I might give it a compacting drawer, just so that we can hold a large amount of it up in there. At that point, we can then set this once again to extract, like so. That's going to hopefully pull all that salt out nice and quickly, and then we can just move all of the salt from these remaining drawers around and into that compacting drawer there. Okay, so the salt problem is fixed, and all of the other resources have managed to make their way successfully into the correct drawers. Quick tip, if you hold the drawer key in your offhand, when you place a drawer down, that drawer will go down automatically locked, so you don't have to worry about random items going into there, which is fantastic. Real quick, let me grab this network cable. We did have to disconnect the importer here because the resources that we're backing up over in there were just instantly filling up all the drawers, which is not what we wanted, but we should now hopefully start to see things like the induction smelter come back online as we start to import more and more of the resources that we're backing up on here. Also, one thing you can do that we've not been doing up until now, again because we don't have redstone, is that you can actually speed up the rate at which these import. And I'm not quite sure why that's not connecting. Let me quickly try just kind of breaking and replacing it. There we go, fantastic. But you can increase the speed of the simple storage network. If we go into JEI and we type in speed, these upgrades right here from the simple storage network mod allow you to either increase or decrease the speed of different item pipes within the mod. And I believe there's also a stack upgrade as well that we can make. There is. The stack upgrade changes the number of items pulled in per cycle. Right now, one item is pulled out every cycle. We can change that to a stack of items being pulled out every cycle, and then you can also add speed upgrades on top of the stack upgrade to pull out many, many stacks at a much faster speed than you otherwise would. The unfortunate situation, though, is that the stack upgrade does require blaze powder, which currently we don't have access to, although I think we are pretty close to being able to get soul sand, because one of the future quest lines that we're going to start working on is the Nether matter quest line, and that Nether matter quest line does unlock the ability to get and sift soul sand for us. For now, though, real quick, if we just look at crafting a few speed upgrades here, these are not too difficult to make. They're redstone, gold, and network cable. I believe you can put up to 4 of these into any given pipe. Actually, I do think this needs to be a filtered import cable. So if we do something like this, now in here we have these 4 slots in the top right. If I were to place the speed upgrades in, we should see Oh yeah, you can put one in each slot, so 4 is the max. But we should see, hopefully, all of this stuff moving out significantly faster than it was previously, which is very useful, especially for stuff like the induction smelter. It might be more useful on something like this iron chest, where we have so much stuff that is not being imported. In fact, have we hit the maximum amount of prismarine? We have, of course, because it's down here in this this drawer, which has not been upgraded, which is less than ideal. But again, we do have quite a large amount of B-Bucks and not really a whole lot to spend them on, so we might as well go ahead and quickly craft up another one of these tier 5 upgrades, drop that in like so, and that's going to allow us to hopefully start clearing out this chest over here slowly but surely. Now, the actual thing that I want to start working on in today's stream, now that we have this kind of taken care of, is I want to start working towards that Nether matter questline, because this again is going to open up a lot of opportunities for us. Specifically, it's going to allow us to move away from simple storage networks and into refined storage, which is a much more powerful digital storage mod that also adds the ability to auto-craft items, which is going to be huge for us because right now we don't have that capability, and right now everything we want to craft, we have to craft manually, and if we want to craft a lot of a given item, it can be a real pain in the backside. Refined storage changes all of that and allows us to craft a ton of stuff automatically, which is definitely going to be needed as we progress further forward and as the recipes get more complex, especially towards the real end game of this pack. But to get there, we have to first work our way through the industrial foregoing questline, and to do that, we actually have to unlock this quest, which of course requires us to finish the very end of the colorful matter questline. So now that we have access to redstone, we can make Netherrack. The way that we get Netherrack, you guessed it, is via a barrel. So if we place down a barrel, like so, that's going to fill up with lava from our compact machine. We can then take redstone, right-click that onto the barrel, and that will produce Netherrack. Nice. We can then take that, and if we hammer it, either with an auto hammer or with our regular old hammer, that's going to get us crushed netherrack. From there, we can turn that crushed netherrack into nether transformation powder by sifting it. And that does remind me, we can now make diamond meshes as well. We got a ton of diamonds, and so we should go and upgrade all of our meshes to diamond meshes at some point in today's stream. But, oh gosh, I didn't realize there was so much stuff to claim. Of course, we did have a pack update between streams, which I believe once again changed some of the previous quest rewards. For example, there is now a crafting calculator that you get as a reward for the moving on quest line. There's also a lot more stuff added to the first chapter challenge here, including a building gadget, a copy-paste gadget, a template manager, a paste container, a template, and a tape measure. We're not going to use any of that stuff today, but we will probably look at using that to expand our base in the future. The sleep charm is something we already have, and again, we did get all of the stuff from this quest again, which is less than ideal, especially given how full our inventory is. Speaking of which, let's see about those gold to diamond chest upgrades. They're super easy to make. If we make 4 of these, we should be able to hopefully give ourselves a little bit more space. Now, I think we are still going to run into a slight problem here, and I think that slight problem is that currently we're using regular link cable under here. We're not using the filtered link cable. And the reason that's a problem is that it seems like for whatever reason, the filtered link cables don't obey the priority system that other pipes in the network obey to, if that makes sense. So in a previous stream, over here, we set this filtered link cable to -10 in priority, because the smaller the priority, the higher on the list it is. So things should try and go into this draw controller first, but the link cable don't have a priority option. You can't open them at all. And it seems like for whatever reason, even though there is space for certain items to go into the storage drawer system, sometimes they end up in these chests anywhere, which is not ideal. So what we might have to do as well is we might have to quickly upgrade those 4 link cable to 4 filtered link cable, which I think is incredibly easy for us to do. It is, it's just 1 barrel. And if we do that, we can then set the priority on these 4 chests to, 50, just something higher than -10, at which point, hopefully, it will start working as intended. Before I can do that, though, I am probably going to have to get the diving gear on, just so that I can break things a little more easily underwater. Boom. And boom, there are 4 filtered link cable. Let's get those down under here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We can then swap back out of our diving suit. This time I'm going to put it back onto our armor stand here. And then back over here, we should be able now to set all of these to a higher priority, thus allowing everything to go into the draw controller first and then into this chest, only as a last resort. Anyway, back over here, the nether transformation powder does require a minimum of a diamond sieve, but it's going to allow us to sieve the crushed netherrack into a nether transformation powder. That nether transformation powder is required to get the nether organic matter, which is the next tier of matter required. Let's see here real quick. Do we have what it takes to make a diamond mesh? I think we do. Whether or not we have an iron mesh lying around is the real question. Turns out we don't, but again, upgrading a regular old string mesh into a flint mesh and then into an iron mesh is not going to be a problem. That's going to get us a diamond mesh, and once we have that diamond mesh, we now have the ability to sift the netherrack. So I think what we will probably do here is, of course, add to our pre-existing setup. This time around, we do need to get netherrack automated, and then we also need to automate the production of the nether organic fluid, which is where the pink slime comes in, because the pink slime is going to allow us to take some of the colorful organic fluid and transform that into nether organic fluid. And in order to get the pink slime, that is where industrial foregoing comes into play. So in order to get started with that, we need nether bricks. That is not going to be a problem for us. If we grab 4 redstone, we can do 1, 2, 3, and 4. We can take 4 of those and smelt them in our fast gold furnace, which we can quickly take and upgrade to an even faster diamond furnace now that we have diamonds available to us. And then from there, I think we can even take it one step further and craft that into an emerald furnace, because we have a ton of emeralds available as well. And on top of that, now that we have access to redstone, I do believe that we can craft the speed augment for the furnace, which is going to take it yet further and allow us to smelt things ridiculously fast. So if we put this in up here, you click the augments button in the top right, you place this into the green slot. You can only put 1 of these in, but this halves the cook time, which basically makes the furnace twice as fast as it already was. And so now if we place in some fuel and the netherrack, this is going to smelt this incredibly fast compared to a regular Minecraft furnace. Once we have 4 nether brick, we can craft that into 1 nether bricks. And once we have 1 nether bricks, that should have unlocked the industrial foregoing questline. It has. This does require 4 nether bricks, so we are going to need a bit more netherrack, but again, that's fine. We've got a ton of redstone and even more coming in as we speak, and we also have basically an infinite amount of lava as well. So if we can quickly get 12 more here, we can smelt that up, and that's going to get us all of the nether bricks required to get our first pity machine frame. That's going to allow us to make a latex processing unit. The latex processing unit is used to turn liquid latex into tiny dry rubber, and that tiny dry rubber is required to make dry rubber, plastic, and then the plastic is required to make the machines that we need to get the pink slime. So the latex in this pack is made in a little bit of a different way to how it's normally made. Specifically in this pack, the latex is made by taking the blocks of cured rubber, or the pieces of cured rubber, and melting those in a magma crucible. That's why this questline here wants us to make the magma crucible. That makes complete sense. I do think that we should have pretty much everything that we need to make the magma crucible. We're just missing a machine frame, which we can make, although we do need 4 more electron plates. That is not going to be a problem for us. We can drop those in like so. And again, with our time in a bottle here, we can go ahead and make that just a little bit faster. And boom, those are done. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and craft up that machine frame. Let's also quickly do the same for the 2 Invar gears. We don't have enough Invar. Let's get some nickel and some iron. We can drop both those in there. Again, we've got so much nickel and so much iron now that it's really not going to be a problem for us to just dump a full stack of both those in there and just let that go to work. Once we have enough, we can put that in here with the gear working die to hopefully start getting some gears. Again, make it just a tiny bit faster there. We've got a bunch of time in here now, 26 minutes and counting. Once we have enough Invar gears and enough Invar, we should be able to craft up a redstone flux coil, 2 redstone and 1 gold, and boom, there is our magma crucible. Nice. So again, temporarily, we'll throw that down right about here, and this is going to allow us to turn our rubber into latex. So currently, if we grab a bucket, we have, I think, 8 buckets worth of latex backed up in our arboreal extractor. We can extract these out and craft them down into rubber, which we can then smelt into the cured rubber, which is what we actually need. We can then take that cured rubber, and how much cured rubber does it take to make a bucket of a different kind of latex? It takes 4 cured rubber, or I would imagine effectively 1 block of cured rubber gets you 1 bucket of latex. It does. Okay, that is fine. Now, in order to make the mob slaughter factory and the dissolution chamber, these are the 2 machines that we need in order to get the block of pink slime, which is what's going to allow us to progress forward. To make both of these machines, we need 2 plastic. Each plastic needs 1 dry rubber, and then each dry rubber is made from 9 tiny dry rubber. Each tiny dry rubber is made from, I think, about 100 millibuckets of latex, but I'm not going to know until we actually get the latex processing unit. Thankfully, the latex processing unit isn't too difficult to make. Let's quickly begin smelting up some of the rubber over in here. In fact, I think we got some cured rubber as a quest reward. We totally did. Look at that. So if we throw this into the old magma crucible, that's going to get us 1 bucket worth of latex that we can extract with our bucket. Once we have 1 bucket of latex, we should be able to make the latex processing unit. We're just missing 1 PT machine frame, which we were on the brink of making, but then we did use some of our netherrack to make the magma crucible. So let's quickly, once again, see if we can't get enough netherrack to make 2 more nether bricks. And boom, once we have those, we can make the aforementioned PT machine frame. Fantastic. And that should be almost everything apart from a regular furnace and a bucket of water. But with both of those, that should be the latex processing unit taken care of. Nice. Now, this does also require power, and we'll probably end up running power somewhere over to this section, and we'll probably also end up moving the magma crucible as well, because I think we are going to want to automate the production of the rubber, of the plastic, and so we'll probably end up automatically extracting the latex out of here and seeing if we can't automate the production of plastic that way. But for the time being, our power is available over here. So if we put latex in here, along with, I believe, water, we should be good to go. Now, because it needs water, I am in fact going to move it to here, because we do have a sink right here. And so if we do something like that, we can quickly disconnect this just in case, although I don't think it's going to have really any effect. That's going to start filling up on water. From there, we can take our cured rubber, craft that into blocks, and drop that into the magma crucible. That's going to produce us more latex. We can place the latex into the latex processing unit along with the water, and that should get us tiny dry rubber. Now, whether or not we're going to have enough tiny dry rubber to make all of the plastic we need is yet to be seen. This is one of those situations where having the time in a bottle is going to be quite useful, because we can make this just a little bit faster. And it does appear that 100 millibuckets of latex gets you 1 tiny dry rubber. So we're going to get enough tiny dry rubber here to make 2 plastic, which is fine, because it means we're not too far away, actually, from being able to make the 4 plastic required to make both the dissolution chamber and the mob slaughter factory. In fact, we just need 2 more blocks of cured rubber, which I'm fairly certain we should be able to do with the remaining latex that we have in the arboreal extractor here. So 36 is the number we're after. And just like that, there's 36 tiny dry rubber. So we can craft that up into 4 dry rubber, and then we can smelt that 4 dry rubber into 4 plastic. Nice. So then we can take our 4 plastic, and we can use that to make, hopefully, the dissolution chamber and the mob slaughter factory. Now, we are going to need 2 more of these pity machine frames. Again, that's not going to be a problem for us. If we take some redstone, and if we just right-click very quickly onto this barrel, we can probably get a stack of netherrack fairly quickly here. Okay, we got 48, and we burned through all of our backlog of lava. That is completely fine. It's going to fill up over time. But now we can just quickly smelt some of this up in here. And once we have 32 nether brick, we can craft that into 8 nether bricks. And that should be everything to make 2 pity machine frames. 1 and 2. And from there, we need the diamond gear, which is made with the gear working die. That's fine. 2 more regular Minecraft buckets. And then for the mob slaughter factory, we need 2 iron swords and 2 iron axes. That is not a problem, and I think that's almost everything for the mob slaughter factory and almost everything for the dissolution chamber. The only 2 things we are missing here is 1 diamond gear and 1 gold gear. So if we put 4 gold in this guy and give him a little bit of a tap with the time in a bottle, that's going to get us a gold gear. and a diamond gear. Nice. Boom, there's the dissolution chamber, and boom, there's the mob slaughter factory. So, the idea here is that the mob slaughter factory, as the name would suggest, is going to kill mobs, and when it kills those mobs, instead of producing mob drops, like you would normally get when you kill mobs, it is going to produce liquid meat and pink slime. The pink slime is what we're after here, because we can use that pink slime in our dissolution chamber to make balls of pink slime and ingots of pink slime. We get liquid pink slime out of the mob slaughter factory. The balls of pink slime are made by combining the pink slime that we get from the mob slaughter factory with a glass pane in the dissolution chamber. Easy enough. And then the ingots of pink slime are made by crafting 1 bucket of pink slime, the liquid, with 2 iron ingots and 2 gold ingots. We need, in total, 1 ingot and 4 pink slime balls in order to make a block of pink slime. So I believe the magic number here is 2,200 millibuckets. Once we have 2,200 millibuckets of pink slime, we can make 4 slime balls, we can make 1 slime ingot, and we can craft that into 1 pink slime block, at which point we can then begin producing the nether organic matter, and we can begin sifting that to produce glowstone, mushrooms, nether quartz, inferium essence, prosperity shards, nether scrap, red mushrooms, and soul sand. So, I think what we are going to need to do here then is, first of all, eat a little bit because we are very low on hunger. But I think we're going to have to replace the player damage trap that we currently have over in our mob farm that's currently killing mobs and getting us mob drops. If we get rid of that and instead place down the mob slaughter factory, we can begin using the mob slaughter factory to kill our mobs and generate pink slime. To do that, we are going to need power. So I think we are going to have to get a bunch more energy pipes, although we only need 2 buckets worth, or 2.2 buckets worth of pink slime. So what I might do is I might temporarily just steal this compression dynamo. In fact, I think we do have a spare compression dynamo. What I might do temporarily is just steal the augments from this compression dynamo and this ender tank. We can then place that ender tank down over by the other compression dynamo, and if we put all of these upgrades in that compression dynamo, we can temporarily run the mob slaughter factory long enough to get the 2.2 buckets worth of pink slime, at which point we can bring that slime back in bucket form over to the dissolution chamber, at which point we can then craft the pink slime into the ingots and balls that we need. I think that's going to be an easier solution than running an energy cable all the way out here, especially because we don't really want to be running the mob slaughter factory full time. We really only want to run it just enough to get the pink slime we need here. We really do want to keep those mob drops coming in as frequently as possible. Now, in order to reorganize our drawers earlier, I did have to disconnect our item pipe. And so real quick, let me reconnect that pipe like so. And then it would also appear that we still have a bunch of stuff in here that we don't need. And now that we're producing gold, like we're automatically producing gold with our skulking organic matter, I think we can probably quite safely add gold armor to the list of things that's being deleted. I don't think we need to keep this gold armor going forward because we're automatically making gold, just like we're automatically making iron, nickel, and all the other ingots that we're getting. So I think having this backup is not worth the little bit of extra gold we get. And so real quick, let me add a bunch more stuff here to this whitelist. Okay, so this chest is coming down now, which is good. I am going to go ahead and before we do anything else, I'm just going to get rid of that player damage trap, because that's going to allow us to kind of slowly but surely back up on mobs, which is what we want. I think we want to have a couple of mobs here ready to go for when we put the mob slaughter factory down, so that we can hopefully fairly quickly get all of the pink slime we need. Now, by default, the mob slaughter factory doesn't have a massive range. If we put it down and we open it, this button right here, the little white box, is the show working area button. If we click on it, you'll see that the working area is quite small. This means that it will only kill mobs that are specifically inside of this green box, which is not many. Now, we could work with this if we wanted to. We do have like a 1 block gap currently where all of our mobs go. However, we can also make our lives a little easier by crafting a range add-on. The range add-ons are also from industrial foregoing and can go into a bunch of different industrial foregoing machines to make them work in a larger area. And they're not too difficult to make. They all follow basically the same recipe. They're all made in the dissolution chamber with 1 bucket of latex, 2 glass panes, 2 redstone, and then 4 of whatever material corresponds to that tier of range add-on. Now, we could, if we wanted to, make the highest tier of range add-on here, that being the emerald range add-on, which will increase the range by plus 12. That means plus 12 in each direction. And so effectively, you end up with a 25 by 25 block area which is a massive area to cover and is also an unnecessarily large area for us to cover. And in fact would be, I think, a hindrance to us, because I'm pretty sure that when you go to areas that large, it's actually slower than having a smaller area, because the block has to check every single like space in that area for mobs to kill. And so in order to make our lives easier, I think we can probably go with maybe like a tier 4 range add-on. Even that's probably going to be too big, but I think that's going to be fine. So let's see. Do we have enough glass to make some glass pans? We do. Do we have one more piece of redstone? We do. Do we have 4 iron nuggets? We do. And thanks to our compacting drawers, we no longer have to craft them down out of iron ingots, which is fantastic. So if we do something like this, the only thing that we are missing is 1 bucket of latex, which we should have the ability to make in here. Do we have extra rubber? We do. I've got 2 blocks on me. If I put one of those in here, that gets us a bucket of latex. We can then place that into the dissolution chamber, and that is going to produce for us the tier 4 range add-on. Nice. And now, if we go and place that into our mob slaughter factory in one of these 4 upgrade slots on the right, we should see the area that the mob slaughter factory covers increase substantially. Again, much larger than we actually need, but if we were to now go ahead and take this, along with our ender tank, and the upgrades in the compression dynamo, what we should be able to do is place the mob slaughter factory down somewhat close to the entrance of that mob farm. Basically anywhere where it will cover the edge of the mob farm. And as you can hear, we have a bunch of mobs ready to be juiced into pink slime here. So if we do this, and we do, let's say something, gosh, it's so loud, like this, we can put the dynamo down pointing directly at the mob slaughter factory. We can rotate it using the pipe wrench from pipes. Then we can set this to extract over here, like so. There we go. This is now full. This is making power. And if we add in that range upgrade and click show, it definitely covers the area we want it to. And so we should start to see, there we go, as the progress bar here hits the bottom, we'll see pink slime and liquid meat being generated. Now, it's quite likely that our tank for liquid meat is going to fill up before our tank for pink slime, which I don't think is going to be a problem. I think the machine can keep going once it fills up on liquid meat. We'll probably just lose out on extra liquid meat, which for us is completely fine. Yeah, you can see here that even though we are full on liquid meat, it is still getting us extra pink slime whenever a mob comes over. And so now it's really just a case of letting this run until we have enough pink slime to make the block of pink slime. One thing we could do here is we could grab some tanks. These mechanism tanks are fairly cheap. If we take 2 of these, we could put 1 tank down, let's say here, another one down, let's say here. And the nifty thing about the machines from Industrial Foregoing is that using these buttons here that correspond to different inputs and outputs in the machine, you can set the different sides of the machine to automatically push or pull different resources. Now, this tank is instantly filled up with lava, which is less than ideal. So instead of doing that, let's instead grab 1 more of those mechanism tanks, and let's put it on the top. In fact, never mind, because we don't have any glass left. That's fine. In here, let's just go ahead and set the meat side to push on the left. That should start filling this tank here with liquid meat. Fantastic. And then ideally, if we can get a bit more glass, we can set the top here to push for pink slime, and we can have a tank on the top that is ready to collect all the pink slime that we are making. So once we have a second tank, boom, and this time we'll click pink slime, and we'll set the top there to push. That's going to push the pink slime up, so now we have the capacity at least to hold 8 buckets worth of pink slime. And yeah, now it's just a case really of waiting until we have 2.2 buckets worth of pink slime, at which point we can then go ahead and look at crafting both the pink slime item and the pink slime ingots and craft our first pink slime block. I do think, for now at least, 1 pink slime block is probably going to be okay. And I think also, in terms of making our lives a little easier, I might go ahead and kind of siphon off 1 of these right here that we're currently using to make colorful organic matter. I think I might siphon 1 of these off and use it to produce the nether organic matter. Essentially, if I disconnect this pipe here and this pipe here, and instead we put like a fluid pipe maybe here and then a barrel here, we can take the colorful organic fluid, send that over, we'll put the block of pink slime underneath this stone barrel to transform that colorful organic fluid into nether organic fluid, and then behind this, we can set up the system that turns lava and redstone into netherrack, crushes netherrack into crushed netherrack, and then sieves that crushed netherrack into nether transformation powder that we can then apply to the nether organic fluid to make the nether organic matter that we can then sift in another sieve over here. I think that's going to be the quickest and easiest way of us getting this system online. So I guess while we wait then for the pink slime to come in, we can quickly look at getting another flux sieve, which as per usual, nice and easy for us. We'll place that down right about here. That is going to sieve the crushed netherrack. In order for that to work, we are going to need another auto hammer, which again, thankfully, super easy for us to make. The only things we're missing are a copper hammer, which we have, as well as 2 more wooden hoppers that we can make. And we did begin smelting up a bunch of glass over here so that we could make those mechanism tanks for the pink slime and the liquid meat. And boom, that is our flux hammer. So we'll place that down just behind the flux sieve over here. We'll put that down right about here, but I'll put it down like this so it matches the other hammers that we have over there. Then prior to that is where we need our barrel that is going to actually produce the netherrack. And so for that one, we need a few more fluid pipes. And then we just need to connect up the lava pipe, which I believe is this one right here. So if we run that around and into there, never mind, that is not the lava pipe. The lava pipe is this one right here. So if we quickly break and replace this, it should fill up with lava. It totally does. And then for this, all we need to do is get another export pipe, like so. And then we just need to specify that we want this to export redstone, like so. We can then connect that up to our pre-existing network cable, which again, thankfully is quite close by. So that's going to make the netherrack. Fantastic. We can then extract over into here, extract into here, and extract into here. And that should be basically everything good to go as soon as we get the block of pink slime. That's going to extract this way. We do, of course, need to break the block underneath here and underneath here so that we can run our energy pipes to both of these machines. And again, we do have to make sure that we put our diamond mesh, which we did make previously, into this sieve here to allow it to actually sieve the crushed netherrack. But yeah, let's have a look. Do we have energy pipes? We totally do. Fantastic. And we do have an energy pipe fairly close by as well. So if we were to just do something like that, that should be good to go. Now, of course, right now, we're probably not producing that much power because of the fact that we took all of the upgrades out of this dynamo and we also stole the lava from this dynamo as well. And so this isn't going to work just yet. But in theory, this is going to turn the netherrack into crushed netherrack. This is going to sieve that crushed netherrack into nether transformational dust. And then this over here, once it gets the block of pink slime, is going to transform the colorful organic fluid into nether organic fluid, which is then going to be combined with the nether organic dust to produce the nether organic matter, which we can then sieve in one more flux sieve. And when I say one more flux sieve, I think I mean 2 more flux sieves, because while we're at it, we might as well also go ahead and replace that other set of sieves, the one that we have over there, because right now this is just a bad setup and it looks bad compared to everything else. So let's do, to make it symmetrical, I'm going to put the sieve here. It's a little janky, but in the future we might end up expanding this to be 3 barrels wide, just like we've done with the rest of them. So we'll put this here just in case, and then all of the matter will get sifted here, deposited into a chest, and pulled back around into the system. All right, so we've got our flux sieve down now for the improved organic matter, so hopefully no more spewing out of resources. Let's go check how much pink slime we have. I think we should hopefully have more than 2.2 buckets worth of the pink slime. We totally do. We got 2.7 buckets of pink slime. Fantastic. So let's grab 2 buckets. Let's take both of those. In fact, we need 3 buckets, right? Oh, that's so awkward. I guess, actually, that's fine. We can take this tank. I was going to say it's awkward because it means that otherwise we might have needed 3 buckets worth, because we need 2.2 buckets, but obviously you can only carry a bucket at a time. But that's fine, because what we can instead do is just place down this tank, put the buckets back in, and then use a fluid pipe to extract from the basic fluid tank here, round it into the dissolution chamber. So, and in fact, I think we could just put this here and then set the top of the green side to pull. Yeah, look at that. It's just going to pull the pink slime in, and we got 2.4. It's a little over what we need, but it looks like it does pull in batches of 400 millibuckets, so that's as good as we're going to get. So let us go ahead. And I guess first things first, if we grab 2 iron and 2 gold, we should be able to craft up the ingot. This does require quite a bit of power, and of course, right now we have no power being generated. Unfortunately, the dissolution chamber is a little finicky in that if you don't have enough power, the progress will be reset. So unfortunately, we will have lost the progress that we had just there, but that is fine. Let's put the upgrades back in over here. And in fact, I did forget that we do also need to grab the lava tank as well. Otherwise, this entire system is not going to work. So let's quickly steal this guy back while we're at it as well. Now, unfortunately, the problem we're going to run into here is that I think a lot of the other machines that are around are going to start to fill up on their backlog. Yeah, so right now, this machine is not filling up, but I think that's just because all of the other machines, for some reason, all the other machines are getting priority. I'm not quite sure why they all get priority over the dissolution chamber, given that the dissolution chamber is closer. But if I were to quickly disconnect this pipe here, we should see, there we go, the dissolution chamber fill up. That's hopefully going to go ahead and produce the pink slime ingot for us, and then in order to make the 4 pink slime items, we just need 4 glass pins, which we do have. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll take those. Hopefully these are a little faster than the pink slime ingot if we put that in. Unfortunately, you can't put more than 1 item in any given slot here, so we do have to do these one at a time, which is a bit of a pain, but we can of course give this a quick tap with the time in a bottle to make it just a little bit faster. And there we go. Once the pink slime is done, we can go ahead and reconnect this pipe, like so. And at that point, we should have everything we need to make our first block of pink slime, like so. And we can place that block of pink slime underneath this barrel over here. Let's place it right about there. We can then, of course, cover up that hole. And now, if we set this to extract, that's going to come over, it's going to get transformed, and we should be good to go. Over here, we are not good to go because I, as always, have messed up how this works. I do it every single time. I forget that you actually do need to have an output for the hammer. So we need to set the top there to the output, like that. Put down the drawer, like that. That's going to start filling up with crushed netherrack. And then from there, we can extract that around into the sieve to be sifted. So let's do something like this. That's going to then sieve the crushed netherrack. Again, that does also need an output, so I've probably fudged this a little bit, although I guess what we can do here is we can get another drawer and put that drawer here, and then instead of having it connect at the back like this, we can have this just go down to here, and then we can have the autosieve eject to the top like that. I think that worked. Let me get rid of this, and let's see if that actually does what we expect it to do. As soon as this work bar fills up, I'm hoping that we see 1 dust in there. We do fantastic. Let us grab our key so we can go ahead and lock this to the right kind of powder just in case anything should happen. And then from there, we can extract that around and into the barrel. And then from there, I think we do need a few more item pipes, which again, thankfully, are super easy to make. And we can use those to extract from here down and around into our sieve. Again, it's a little awkward the way that I've set this up, but once we have that, we can also get another chest. I don't think it needs to be an iron chest at this point in time, although we could do it just for the sake of the fact that all of the rest of these are iron chests as well, and if we want them all to look the same, we might as well do something like this. That gets us an iron chest. We can put that down like so after we set that to the output side by shift right clicking with the hammer. Boom. And much like with this sieve here, there's no ingots, I don't think, that we're going to get from the sifting of nether organic matter. There aren't. There kind of are. There's the gold pieces that we get. They do require processing via this setup over here, right? So we are going to have to send our gold pieces around into there. That should be fine. What we can do is we can put down our import cable like we have here, but instead of setting it to allow list like we've done previously, we can set it to ignore list or blacklist, and we can say blacklist the gold pieces, and then we can add another item pipe that goes from here all the way along and around into here. Again, let's make sure before I connect that we have U set to output, or we can disconnect that one and have U set to extract, and then we can add gold pieces to the whitelist here so that those gold pieces get mixed in with the other gold pieces and get processed into gold ingots. So real quick down here, let's do something like this, run this all the way over. Again, eventually we might have some barrels here, so we'll make space for that. Let's go and set that to extract on the barrel. There we go. That's going to set it around to here. This already has redstone flux. Fantastic. This does require a mesh. I don't know if it requires a diamond mesh. It does require a diamond mesh. That is fine. And again, now that we've picked up the meshes that were in the middle of the floor there, we actually do have a few iron meshes lying around in the system, so making diamond meshes nice and easy. There we go. Again, let me clear my inventory out just a bit because there's a ton of junk in here that we don't need to be carrying around with us, and that's going to produce a ton of stuff. Nice. So, do we have another import cable? I think the answer is no. We have a regular import cable, but we do need a filtered import cable here because, again, we do want to specify what it is we want to import. As per usual, though, this shouldn't be too difficult, just so long as we have enough of the Constantan to make the network cable, which we totally do. Boom, and boom. Let's put you down right about here. And as I mentioned, this time around, we're going to grab a gold piece, which thankfully we have over here, and we'll set that to ignore list, and we'll add the gold piece to it. So now that should, I think, pull in anything that's not gold. Then over here, we want to change this to whitelist. So let me get another pipe upgrade, put that in here, and then add the gold piece to the whitelist. So now the gold pieces should get extracted from here and should be sent round into here just as soon as there's space for them. Again, we do still need to make another induction smelter. I'll make this one faster. Again, you can see that we're kind of having a little bit of a power problem now, which is not ideal. We do now have the ability, I believe, to start looking at other generators. For example, down at the bottom of the machine frame questline, there's the magmatic dynamo, the lapidary dynamo, and the sterling dynamo. Any of these could be useful for increasing our power generation. We might look at that a little bit in the next stream. For now, though, this is almost working. All we need to do is connect up our input cable here to the rest of the network cable. And as per usual, I've run into the same error as always, and that is that I didn't add a filter to this pipe upgrade. So we need to add a pipe upgrade, and I need to take a bucket of the colorful organic fluid and add that to the whitelist. Then we can just go ahead and break and replace that, like so. Once again, make sure that's set to output. But now we should hopefully only extract the colorful organic matter going forward, as opposed to just any old organic matter, which is exactly what we're after. And yeah, it looks like the system is working. I have begun adding all of the resources to their own drawers over here, slowly but surely, as we get them. I kind of just have to check the system and see what we have. We don't have any inferium yet. That's fine. We do have one nether quartz, so we can go ahead and drop that into its own drawer like so. Do we have a brown mushroom? We do not. Okay, but slowly but surely, as we get more and more of the different drops that we're going to get from the nether organic matter, we can use those and give them their own drawers. And yeah, hopefully next time when we come back, we'll have a fair amount, or at least a little bit, of all of these resources, and we can look finally at pushing forward into refined storage. Of course, if we want to actually complete this quest, we need nether transformational powder, I think it is. I think that's all that we actually don't have yet. Yes, I need to actually physically hold one nether transformation powder, and so if I were to temporarily just disconnect this, we will hopefully back up. Oh, we've already backed up. Nice, fantastic. Didn't even need to disconnect that. That is fine. And so that is that quest complete. Fantastic. We do need to make sure that we don't accidentally sieve any of the next piece of nether organic matter. So I'm just going to take that mesh out. That's going to allow me to complete that quest as well. Fantastic. And then now we can just go through and make sure we hold one of each of these items, and that's going to in turn complete each one of those quests as well. So if we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, look at that. You'll love to see those quests getting completed. We can claim all of our rewards, which include an extra pity machine frame that could be useful. The extra pink slime, also quite useful in case we decide to put down more blocks of pink slime in the future for more nether organic matter production. And of course, more B-books just in case you didn't have enough of them. But next time we can come back And there's a few things we can do here now. We do have the ability to unlock Mystical Agriculture, which is a super powerful mod that's going to allow us to start growing different resources. There are different seeds you can get: iron seeds, gold seeds, nether seeds, wither skeleton seeds. You can start to grow a bunch of different resources that otherwise you wouldn't be able to grow in just regular Minecraft. That is super nifty. We also have the ability to move up, get soul sand, and start getting things like blaze powder. Again, that's going to allow us to make things like stack upgrades for our simple storage network. Not that we should really need them though, because I think one of the first things that I'm going to start to work on in the next episode is refined storage. Refined storage, we do now have the ability to make. There is a quest here letting you know that AE2 is in the pack, but I'm going to go ahead and use refined storage, the quest line for it. We might as well make it work. To start that, we need 4 prosperity shards and an iron ingot. Right now, we have 1 prosperity shard, which is not a ton. However, chat did make a good point earlier, and that is that, again, now that we have so many emeralds, there's really not a good reason to not just instantly upgrade the diamond mesh to an emerald mesh. And again, now that we're getting netherite scrap, it's quite possible that fairly soon we'll be able to upgrade from an emerald mesh to a netherite mesh. In fact, you only need 4 netherite scrap in order to get 1 netherite mesh. How much netherite scrap do we have? We have exactly 4 netherite scrap. Would you look at that? So if we do a quick craft here, we can turn that netherite into a netherite ingot. And then if we make the smithing table, which I'm hoping is very easy to make, it is fantastically easy to make. We can place that down like so, drop in our netherite ingot with our emerald mesh. That gets us a netherite mesh. And now, compared to the diamond mesh, which had 150% chance of dropping a prosperity shard, the emerald mesh gives you an extra 15% chance, and the netherite mesh takes it even further and gives you 2 15% chances. And so for very little extra in the way of resources, we should now get even more out of every single one of our nether organic matters, which is nice. So really the only thing holding us back here from making more nether organic matter is, again, the same thing that was holding us back before, and that is this guy here, the ancient skulk. We need more of these, I think, which I don't think we have in our system. We don't. More ancient skulk would allow us to dedicate an entire 3 barrels to the organic matter, but until we get more ancient skulk, we're kind of stuck with the system we have now, and the current system is such that the bottleneck for us is the colorful organic matter. It turns out I am a fool. You can craft more ancient skulk. I don't know if this is a new addition from Ben, or if I just missed this the first time around, but you can take 1 ancient skulk, craft it with 4 echo shards, and get another ancient skulk. And of course, we do have echo shards being generated for us. We got a bunch of them in the system. Now, I don't know if I can just pick it up. People are telling us we need Silk Touch in order to pick up the ancient skulk that we already have, which is unfortunate. But that does mean, though, that if we go back one more time and we get 1 more ancient skulk, we should then, in theory, be able to make an infinite amount of ancient skulk. And of course, that would allow us to set up even more of these barrels that transform the improved organic fluid into skulking organic fluid. Although, again, it does appear that lava is actually our bottleneck right now. You'll see that once this transforms into the organic matter, it actually takes a little bit of time before it fills up again with the lava. So it's quite possible we might also want to look at improving this setup as well. Although, I do believe that in the newest version of the pack, Ben has bamboozled us. I think he has gotten rid of the ability to produce lava using the barrel. So right now we're using this barrel right here with lava above it and water being pumped into it to produce a staggering amount of cobblestone. I think that's been taken away in the newest version of the pack. And so we might have to rethink our lava generation system, and it's quite possible we might have to get just a ton of resource generators, these guys right here, potentially in another nested compact machine to get even more lava production online, because again, lava is our limiting factor. But next time we'll come back, we'll look at improving power, if power continues to be an issue. Between streams, I think I'll go ahead and put down another induction smelter here to hopefully start to get through this backlog that we have right here. We'll look at hopefully getting into refined storage and moving away from simple storage networks, getting into some auto crafting, and then pushing forward into dimensional shards, which is kind of the next big resource that we need to unlock future crafts. And then from there we get into the end, the real end, and complete the pack, and eventually we can hopefully complete the pack with these antimatter cores. That has been changed. Ben did remove Project E from the pack entirely, apparently, not working well whatsoever. But that's been changed. There's now like a more mechanism-focused end to this pack as opposed to the initial Project E. But those are more problems for future Isaac. For now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up with this episode of Seaopolis there.